Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright. Welcoming good things upon my day today, and as well for you the same upon turning on this video. Good things, good blessings, healing, or whatever would be best customs for your day or night. Good well wishes, man. That's how I'm feeling right now. I woke up this morning much better. It was one of those situations where, of course, after doing everything that I had to do, I ended up doing my squat regimen. I was telling y'all I was worried about kind of falling off on that. I did it yesterday when I got home. Didn't even sit down. So as soon as I came home from walking, I went straight to it, which is something I didn't think I would do given how I was feeling that a walk home. But that motivation was stronger than my actual energy was. The motivation and the guilt for doing it made me pull through it, and by the time I finished it, I felt great. So, it's just mind over matter as it pertains to wanting to maintain your workout habits and various different things like that. So, did that. I probably found myself falling asleep not too long after that. Shower and all of that good stuff. I went to sleep. I was knocked out by probably about 8 o'clock. Went to sleep, woke up about midnight, I'd say midnight, and in midnight's wake up, I found myself sad about the same old stuff as usual. And my thinking was, let's meditate as we always do. And then the Lord told me once again, strength. And after the conversation about strength last night, or rather walking down the street having that conversation with you all about strength, I realized that the Lord was asking me to ask for it in regards to that situation, so I immediately went to it. And then, as I told y'all, as my hands were motioning like this in prayer, just as it has a couple of times throughout the course of this process. And I was asking the Lord, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What are you asking me to do? That doesn't speak to anything positive. That speaks to violence. It's cutting someone's throat. But that's not what it came to me to mean. It mean cut off that energy that's making it so that you're drawn to this person in such a way that hurts you. Cut that off. Kill that. For which is in you that is not of God, that's not good. If I only, and meaning in God's point of view, if I only meant for her to do certain things in your life, then anything that draws you toward her outside of what it is that I want you to do isn't right. It's meant to attack you. Kill it. It's essentially what the Lord was telling me. Kill it. Cut those ties. Whatever that is that makes you want more from her than what she is giving you needs to be killed, because it's not helping you. It's waking you up in sadness in times where the Lord is otherwise telling you that ain't how it's supposed to feel. That's not how you're supposed to feel, and it's holding you back. I felt throughout the course of this process, I felt stagnant, thinking about her and what she wasn't doing as opposed to what I needed to be doing. Thinking about her in regards to this camera as opposed to various different conversations. And the enemy was continuing to use that against me. And the Lord has been telling me to kill that. Let me kill that. And that's what the Lord was essentially saying. Let me take that out of you and put it into it. And allow me to give you the strength from which to want it. And that's another one of those areas of life where the Lord has helped me understand why I wasn't trusting him. As we've been peeling back the layers of various different things that I haven't displayed trust in regards to God to, this is one of them. Let him cut that off. If it's cutting my friendship with her, cut it off. If it's cutting my desire to be with her, cut it off. If it's cutting ties of our communication, cut it off. Whatever it is that's drawing me in a negative way to feeling bad about this particular person, it needs to be cut off. That's really what it was that was coming to me in meditation. It was like, cut that off. Put it into it. I don't want it there, God is telling me. You don't want it there because it ain't doing nothing but hurting you. She don't want it there because she's obviously not drawn to it. Kill it. Slit it right down the throat. And so that's what that came to me. And I was like, all right, God, I'm asking you for the strength to want such things. Catch me up to what it is that's already in my life. Kill it. And so that's what I was meditating on. And the Lord was helping me understand that that's all I need you to do is give me the right to do that. It's just like any other situation where the Lord needs to, if a doctor needs to perform surgery, they're waiting for your consent. That's all he needed. He wasn't going to do it without me wanting it, because in order for it to be gone, it has to be, expelled, so to speak, from the circumstance. It can't just be me continuing to hold on to something that ain't meant for me in regards to that feeling toward this person. She ain't supposed to be obsessed over in any way. It don't help me. It don't help her. It ain't bringing God closer to me. It ain't bringing God closer to her. It ain't bringing me closer to her. It ain't doing none of the things that ultimately that would make the situation better. All it does is make me sad over her not being where I want her to be, for which, if she were, I don't even know if that would be necessarily best for either one of us. There's certain things about this situation that I didn't take into account, that I've since taken into account as of late, and the last thing left to do is to cut off, for which brings me toward this person without actually bringing me toward her. You're not even reaching out to say hello when you feel this way. It's essentially what I was coming to conclusions of in regards to myself. It's not even drawing you to reach out anymore, because you don't feel comfortable reaching out, because she's cut you more or less off in certain ways. She's left you at a distance that makes her feel comfortable. You need to catch up to that and cut off what otherwise makes you resist that distance. Cut it off. And so that's what the Holy Spirit was helping me understand. Like, that's what he wanted me to cut. Kill that. Kill that from which tortures you in regards to her. Anything that makes you feel obsessive in regards to a person, and the God has already told you they don't want you in their life, or if they have told you they don't want you that close, or they showing you in so many different ways that it ain't what you telling yourself it is any damn way, and you're just holding on to it by way of ego, holding on to it by way of your own torture, that's self-loathing. That's all that is. It's just like anything else you're going to use to cut yourself with. Cut it off. Not yourself, what it is that you're using. Get rid of it. I was using that girl's distance from me like a razor on my own damn skin. No, I don't want to cut myself. I want to cut that razor off. Dull it. Throw it away. Get it out of my possession so it can't keep hurting me. Because you obviously don't want to be hurt. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, if you don't desire to be hurt, then don't use tools that hurt you against yourself. And don't use anybody else's choices in their life for which they're using to make themselves feel better be something that you use to hurt yourself with. You ain't gotta hurt yourself over this person. And you don't have to be confused about what it is that it's doing, because you're praying to God and God is letting you know this is killing you, so cut it off. And that's what it is. It's not like I'm cutting her out of my life. She didn't already distance herself. It's up to me to cope with that and not allow my ego to tell the story. He didn't already compelled her to do what she needs to do. Now it's time for me to be able to be okay with that. And if I'm holding on to something that ain't there, that she don't want, that is not best for me, that ain't best for her, that ain't bringing me close to God, etc., then what is its purpose? Obviously, it's a tool for me to use to hurt myself. Obviously, that's a functionality of the enemy. As I've been telling y'all, the enemy's been able to effectively keep this girl out of my life in the times where I'm having the worst possible days. And she's supposed to, in theory, by way of what it is I'm perceiving, be the support from which a lot of that's supposed to go away. But if the enemy has a control over the timing of the circumstance, and that means God does not. And if God's not using her, the enemy is. So at some point in time, whether you are hell-bent on holding on to it, which is something I realize I have a problem with, no different than AMC, no different than my need to be off of work, need to not go to school, all these different things that I'm hell-bent about, all these different things in my mental health, that's just one more thing. Not letting someone go who's already let go, more or less. Or at least put it at a distance that is comfortable for her, for which I'm not cool with, for whatever set of reasons. So cut it off. And so that's what the Lord was helping me understand, man. You gotta cut that stuff off. If somebody's not keeping you as close as you need them to keep you in order for you to be at peace with yourself, don't get mad at them. Look at you, because at the end of the day, that's you wasting your time and your energy on not them, because they ain't there, on the thought of them not being there. For which, If it ain't meant to help you, you shouldn't care. You know what I mean? And this is somebody who uses her phone to reach out to me when she feels like it. It's not like she's completely told me to go away from her life. Just 4 days ago, she hit me up in the morning and at night. That's the distance that's comfortable for her. That's how she shows her love to me. I can't need for her to do more if this is the person that I'm going to be looking at in any way. That's all she got to give. Now, you can vilify her for that. You can exalt her for that. Whatever makes you feel better. But at the end of the day, that's all you're getting. And whether I feel it's enough or not is what needs to be determined by me. Now, for me, it ain't enough. Especially when I went through a process of having this, that, and the third all every day consistency, and then it gets cut off. But at the same time, it's like you don't know why it's been cut off. And because you're not in the communication, you can tell yourself all you want, and that's what the enemy is able to do. Help by way of your thoughts that you haven't guarded, by way of you not cutting that off, allow you to manifest thoughts that ain't really real, answering questions that you don't really have answers for. And the enemy knows that. So if you're going to keep on letting him use your imagination, your ego, your longing for something, your loneliness, and all these various different energies to keep you in a position to be tortured by the absence of somebody who's already proven themselves to not only want to be absent to a degree, but not actually all the way absent in the first place, then you need to understand that that very dynamic is not of God at all. It's not. And the very thing that makes it not of God is you, not them. Because you're the one obsessing over them not being around you. You're the one obsessing over them not giving you the energy that you want from them. How much of that energy that you actually think you would be otherwise receiving would be best for you if it's nothing but the enemy using you to hate her over regards to her not being there, or using you as a means of allowing you to hurt yourself by obsessing over her not being there. It's just all bad. It's not. It ain't bringing you closer to God. It ain't bringing you closer to her. It ain't bringing her closer to you. It's not you reaching out in that energy. Doesn't do nothing for bettering her day. Don't do nothing for bettering your day. If anything, it brings y'all more of a distance between each other in regards to the energy that would otherwise be positive when y'all do speak. Cut it off. And maybe in certain situations you need to cut the person off. I'm open to that. I let the Lord hey, look, man, maybe next time she reach out, I just don't need to be having those desires to reach back. I think that might be part of the problem, is co-signing the behavior when I don't actually appreciate it. Co-signing the energy when she does bring it around. She can keep it at a distance she wants. Whether you express to her you don't like it or not, she's not mature enough of a person as of right now to do more for you, even though you've told her already to respect that. No different than where you were mature enough of a person to stay away when she asked you to stay away in certain situations. So it's like, if neither one of y'all maturity gonna show up in the situation, then what good are you actually bringing to the table for either one of y'all? Cut it off. And maybe that's the way forward to get actually what it is that's best for y'all. Maybe y'all need to see each other in this light in order to understand one another better in the future. But if you're gonna let it all fall apart right now because of the resentment that's built up for not cutting it off in 2023, y'all ain't gonna get along in 2026, 2027, 2028 because of what you didn't find yourself allowing the Lord to do in 2023. Cut it off to preserve the friendship. It's just like cutting weeds and to preserve the leaves or whatever it is that you got going on your garden. You got to cut certain things off. You want to preserve your hair properly, you got to cut those edges, cut those split ends. Cut it off so that you don't harbor more of the same energy for which you can do nothing good with towards somebody who may grow up out of that, who may not grow out of that. For whatever the case, it needs to be cut off though. So, that's really where my head is, man. Just at this point in time, I'm letting the Lord do what he needs to do to cut it off. Whatever it is he needs to cut off. If it's going to be me and her communicating ever, cut it off. If it's just going to be my longing for her to be better and hopeful that she will fulfill whatever necessary energy, cut it off. If it's going to be me not thinking a certain way or praying a certain way, cut it off. Whatever it is, I'm now telling God, do what it is that you feel is best for me in regards to the situation. Cut it off if that's what it takes. Do not have me out here suffering the ills of somebody who's not going to be meant to do more than she's doing. Because you are who every good thing comes from. Where every good thing that I've ever received comes from God. So if I'm not trusting God to maneuver it in the way that he's supposed to maneuver it for whatever he decides to do, then I'm just kicking the can down the road for the enemy to use his energy against me in regards to it. Cut it off. This spiritual warfare, this is chestnut checkers. And if God is done with me in this person's life, or if he's done with her in mine, and I'm the last to know, the last thing I need to be doing is telling God that I'm not ready to let go. Cut it off. That's all you can do. Because a lot of times, it just comes down to God not wanting to do nothing with you and that person at this time. Maybe you reunite and get back in time with one another and be cool or whatever. But for right now, you got to be strong enough to let him move in the direction he wants to move. This is chestnut checkers. If he wants to do this particular thing, it's up to you to trust him to do that. And so that's where I was struggling. I wasn't letting him do it. I wasn't open to that. And he was patient with me in regards to it. But I wasn't open to it. Swarmer House having a barbecue. I thought it was a fire, but it's positive. It seems like they got it under control, charcoal barbecue. But, that's what I'm telling God to do. Like, look, man, whatever is necessary, make it happen. Whatever will make me better, cut it off. If it'll make her better, cut it off. I don't want to harbor any bad energy towards somebody who's not respecting me in a way that I can receive in 2023 when that's not even the right way to show respect. When I'm not even mature enough to show her the respect that she needs. Cut it off. Get me to a space where I can receive her better if you ever want me to know her again. If not, let it be. We had a great friendship. Do what you got to do. But what I don't want to do ever again is tell God no when he's telling me to cut something off or let him cut it off. Because I'm telling you, if any good thing gonna come your way, it's gonna come from the Creator. It's not gonna come from somebody. It ain't gonna come from yourself. It ain't gonna come from your imagination. You don't know what come with what, and all you really need is the strength to let him do it. The enemy's gonna use that weakness and your imagination to make you think that it's worse if you allow God to do what he wants to do. But remember, this is about him. This ain't about you. He's the main character in this, not me. So while I'm looking at her through a semi-spiritual lens, which is also something that came my way, I come to understand that. It wasn't this the only thing that he was giving me in regards to praying for her. It was this too. And I realized what that means. You're only halfway looking through a spiritual lens. The other half is looking at it through a earthly lens, for which you don't trust me, for which the world has taught you not to trust me. Maybe she's looking at you through a semi-earthly lens. I haven't been confirmed that, but that's the point. Semi. Only half of my eye can see clearly. And I'm asking him to wipe that away, for which makes it so that we don't see clearly, how that goes. I don't want no parts of that. Give me the strength to see clearly. I don't want no parts of the same denial that I was engaging in Linux when I couldn't let go of certain things that I obviously needed to let go of to keep from going through this. I don't want that. And especially at 39 years of age, when you're talking about trying to find somebody that'll be your mate to have children with, you cannot get that wrong. And me holding on to this individual may make it so that I get it wrong. Me holding on to her right now may make sure that it never works out if that's what it's supposed to be. But the point is, I can't be in control of that. I can't ask the Lord to change her if it's not meant for her to change for the better in that regard. Or change me if what I perceive is the better ain't necessarily what it is. You got to look at it through a full spiritual lens, not half. Cut it off, Lord. If that friendship is going to continue to hurt me by way of her distance and she keeps comfortable, and that's me co-signing that energy is going to continue to leave me sad, cut that off. If me reaching out is going to leave her uncomfortable and I'm doing too much in her inbox, cut it off. I don't want God to do anything in regards to the situation but what he wants to do from here on out. No more. No more. I will not have another night like last night. Not if I can trust God and let him do what it is he's been telling me he wants to do. Cut it off. And it's a good friendship too when it's right. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't the point. It will never be right unless it's of God. Never. And if I'm looking at it through a half spiritual lens and I'm not asking for the strength to let him do what it is that he's telling me needs to be done, which is cut it off, then I'm messing up. Then whatever it is I'm reaching out toward her with ain't no good for her, ain't no good for me, and it's definitely going to be used by the enemy to attack us both. Cut it off. See, yesterday was about strength. Today is about receiving that strength and letting the Lord use it. That demon that was in me, that was longing for something from this person, it didn't mean me no good. Making me feel like I gotta feel this way, or having me answering questions in my head that ain't got nothing to do with what's coming out of her mouth. Cut it off. If she's really that comfortable without me and that's the way it's supposed to be, then I definitely don't need nobody like that. You understand what I'm saying? Especially since I'm like this. Cut it off. You know, there's a lot of ways you can look at it, but there's none of it is more clear than the Holy Spirit saying, ask for the strength to cut it off. And so that's what I'm asking for in this camera. Telling y'all the same thing I told God last night. Holy Spirit, I don't want nothing confusing me about what it is that truly is real. You are real. Any relationship, friendship, mindset, whatever it is that needs to be cut off in my life, I want the strength first to welcome that for which I would otherwise not welcome. And then I want you to feel free to step into my heart or into my circumstance or whatever it is, to do what it is that you ultimately want to do for the betterment of me and my life and the circumstances from which I'm supposed to be affecting with my energy. Cut off anything. I give you full reins to enter my heart, my mind, and my soul to make me whole without the need of anything, anyone, of any kind. Cut off all dependencies that the enemy can use to try to defeat me or make my life uncomfortable. Cut it off. If it's meant to distract me, cut it off. If it's meant to make me feel worse about myself in any way, cut it off. If it's meant to set me up for a failure, cut it off. If it's meant to lift me up to tear me down, cut it off. Whatever it is, if it's meant to make me a worse person toward others, cut it off. If it makes it so that my energy is worse toward the people I'm supposed to be affecting with positivity, cut it off. If it's meant to coerce me into failure or death, cut it off. I give you full reins, Lord, to do so. Limited to nothing. I want the strength to trust you even more so that I can do that wherever it may be necessary. Especially those things that I would hold on to with my ego so tight that otherwise I wouldn't know how to change. I want you to change it. That's the point. That's what trust is about. Cut it off. If it's a demon in me that wants to make things worse between me and someone else, cut it off. If it's a demon in me of any kind, of any evil, cut it off. I don't want to be used by the enemy at all. Least of all to hurt people I care about. And I want to have good things to say about the people that I care for, even if they make certain decisions that I may not care for. So with that being said, anything that's in me that would otherwise make me aggressive against others, for which would only exalt myself, cut it off. These are the type of things that need to be said so that the Lord can move and keep me from being stagnant, because I think this was holding me back some way. I think this whole I need more from her than she's willing to give me was just something that was not good for me at all, regardless of whether she gave me what I wanted or not. I think she would absolutely agree. I don't think she would disagree with that in any way. And so that's what I'm asking the Holy Spirit to do, man. As of December 5th, I want the Lord to give me strength to cut off KT in every way necessary for the healing of both of us. This is not a thought that doesn't include her betterment. I think the Lord can always use me in her life in any way that he chooses. But as long as I'm like this, needing from her, feeling sad, and then thinking about those sadnesses and applying it to her, that's trash that he can do nothing with but ask me to cut off or allow him to cut off. And that is exactly what I'm asking him to do. Trim the hedges on that nonsense. Put me in a position to be a much better human being toward whoever it is that you do want me to be close to. And may those people not be dependent on for the same energy, just in case anything is different in regards to what they can give me than what it is I would otherwise want. Cut it off. I don't want to be needy toward nobody but the Holy Spirit. That's it. Otherwise, cut it off. This is ridiculous. Do they have a plan for us? Is there a plan here? Y'all cut off the sidewalk, but you didn't create another one. Type of things that distract you. Cut it off is what I'm saying to you. Whatever it is, regardless of what it is, cut it off. You know, the Holy Spirit can work wonders within ourselves if we let Him. That's the point. If you're in a situation where something needs to be cut off and you're afraid to cut it off because you don't trust that God can do for you what otherwise He wants to do, that is a mistake within you that you need strength for. That is what I've learned. Excluding nothing. Because a lot of us are holding on to stuff because we don't trust God in those areas. We think we believe in God, this, that, and the third. But when it comes to that particular area, the enemy has a hand over one of our eyes as it pertains to looking at it through a spiritual lens. Make sure that he removes that for which is in front of your eye so that you can see clearly. That's where the strength is. Help me see clearly. That arm, that thing that's covering my eye, it requires a great deal of strength to remove so that when you are able to see clearly, it's no question about what decisions you need to be making or allowing the Lord to make within your life. But the strength to remove that for which close your eyes needs to be requested. And the strength from which to be at peace with what it is the Lord wants to do needs to be requested. Because otherwise, you're just going to be doing something that hurts you and that you don't really trust is best for you, which is why the strength comes first before the movement. Lord, give me the strength to let go of this person. I don't like how this is going. However it is, I don't perceive it properly, and I need your strength to not only deal with it, but to prove to me that I can trust you in regards to it. So provide me that strength. Then from there, we can look at it clearly through a spiritual lens with the Holy Spirit coming first. And then you can let Him do whatever it is you need to do because you're not confused. That person ain't for me. That person don't mean me well or whatever it is, you know. That person can't give me what I'm asking for. This is a setup. The enemy's trying to set me up to feel worse so that my energy can be worse toward this person, so that my energy can be worse toward God, so that I can lose faith in God by applying so much faith in this person. Cut it off. It's just not checkers. It's spiritual warfare. The enemy wants my soul, and he gonna use my heart by way of the Lord intentions that I would otherwise close off to make it so that I don't even want Him to do what makes me better. And then when I walk away from that situation having suffered, what do? Not believe in God no more? Cut it off. That's what we need to start telling ourselves. Cut it off. If it's setting me up for failure, cut it off. If it's setting me up to feel worse about myself, cut it off. If it's setting me up to believe in somebody that ain't meant for me, cut it off. You don't got to hold on to none of those soul ties or those energies. Even if your ego done told you put so much into it, you don't need to put nothing else into it. Cut that off. If that person ain't no good for you, or you're not good for that person, or you're not good for one another, let it go and ask for the strength first before anything else. So that you're not second guessing the move that the Lord is asking you to let Him make. Strength first, movement second. God first, movement second. So that's what I'm telling all of y'all, man. We understanding this here. We're understanding this. We're not putting ourselves in a position to not have that strength. We're not putting ourselves in a position to hold on to something that He's rather sever. We're not putting ourselves in a position to then blame God after He done told us, hey, this is what I wanted to do in the situation, you didn't let me. He gave us free will, did He not? And with that free will comes an understanding that He wants what's best for you. So you got to trust Him there. And trust that you ain't seen what's coming. Trust that you don't know what comes with what it is that you're asking for when you don't allow Him to do certain things. For all you know, it's going to coerce you onto the worst of pain. You can't be certain. You just got to trust God. And it takes strength to do that. To be able to see yourself and others through the right lens. To be able to move that hand out the way of your eyes so you can see clearly. through all three eyes, including the third one. And then from there, let him, through your trust for God, do whatever feels otherwise uncomfortable with you before that strength comes. And know that that strength is here when you ask for it. So that's what I was struggling with. And I don't know that my friendship with Karen wasn't meant for that very lesson, and that's it. That may have been the only reason why she was actually in my life. That literally may have been the only thing. But if I'm going to reject that because my ego tell me I can't let this, that, and the third, every other reason in the world except for God is why I can't let her go, man, please. At some point in time, you got to realize you already been let go. What are you going to do? Sit there and obsess over that and make you a hateful person? Cut it off. Because you know it ain't nothing wrong with you if your head is on straight and when your eyes are clear, it's looking clearly, and you're pointing yourself toward the Lord. There's nothing wrong with you. So whatever it is that's pulling her away from me is not for the deficiency of myself. And I got to be honest about that. Maybe it's just the Lord's will. Maybe it's a deficiency in her that doesn't allow her to welcome good things into her life. Whatever the case may be, if I welcome that for which she is, that's not supposed to be for me, guess what I'm welcoming? Something that ain't right. Cut it off. And do it with confidence too. The Holy Spirit loves you. He did make you as beautiful as you are. He did make you as capable as you are, as confident as you should be. You ain't got to welcome nothing in your life and ain't no good that should not be. It's how people make life mistakes. By not trusting God when he's giving you the signs. Hey, this is what I want to do. This is how you're going to get it done. And this is ultimately where you need to be trusting me the most. Okay, cool. I'm not in the way of that, God, because you made me. And there's been many times where I thought I had the right person in my life. Relationships that went left that I was so held tight on to. You know how bad that can be. Circumstances you just thought was going to go a certain way and never panned out that way. I've already seen that movie. So why would I think this could otherwise be not possible in that way? And this one definitely ain't that. Why not? The last two were like that. Cut it off. And see, don't the Lord do great things in your life for taking this route the right way this time? Because the only last two times you went through that, the only thing you were supposed to learn is to not let it happen again. And there's many ways to reach a destination. For all you know, this is the very path that leads you toward that person. This is the very path that helps you understand them better so that they can then be seen through the proper lens. And then from there, real friendship, real understanding, real things can come. But you ain't never going to get that if you don't let the Lord do exactly what he wants to do. And as it pertains to me and that individual, that obsession that I was holding on to, that needed to be carved out. And so that's what I've invited the Lord to do from here on out. Cut it off. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.